Okay, welcome to Empath. So I call this a mastermind, just because I wanted to get together and talk about it and kind of like what do people need? I have taught Empath many times before, in many different ways. A little bit of a different spin we're going to do on it right now because the energy is expanding. There's a whole bunch of really cool things going on this year. And if you're working in energetics, I'm sure you're noticing it. If you're not in energetics, I'm still sure you're noticing it because even people that are trying to ignore it are being affected this year, which is kind of cool. I personally am an empath and I have been my whole life. It was not an easy thing for me. And in fact, I do believe I was triggered when I was a year old because my mom's mom passed away. My mom would consider it, she was murdered um, when I was a year old. So I began my empath journey there, helping my mom, right? So most empaths have had some kind of trauma, and it's one of those things, chicken or the egg, right? Is the trauma that made us an empath, or are we an empath and then, we're more sensitive to trauma? If you're not sure what an empath is, it is a sensitive person who takes on the feelings of others on a deep level. Now, not just the feelings. I'm going to break it down. There's actually different kinds of empaths that we'll talk about today. It is a little bit different than just being a sensitive person. So we have people that are highly sensitive, and both people are in tune with emotions. However, empaths feel more than just the emotions of people. They can actually feel the physical symptoms. They have intense intuition. You can actually be empathic to different things. And towards the end of this, I'll talk about 14 different kinds of empaths. Some characteristics, if you're not sure. Number one, we dislike crowds. Now, I have advanced into liking crowds now, but I didn't always like crowds. A lot of the things I don't say overcome, I guess. I've used now as a superpower. The ability to have deep conversations. That was not always something that I could do. In fact, I was the opposite. As an empath, I couldn't handle people for more than 5 minutes. So if you're finding you're a little bit opposite on that, even though typically empaths like to have deep conversations, no, I didn't want to hear anything about you. That was where I was at. I was the queen of the 5-minute conversation. In and out, we're good. Big need for alone time, but you prioritize others all the time, and you have sensory, usually sensitivities. So bright sounds, loud noise, things overwhelm you. The sad thing is many empaths don't realize it's often our desire to heal others, which is our cry for help for our own healing. So we're so great at helping others, but really the core of it is that we need to do our own stuff. Yay. So big kudos to all of
There's
those.
a lot of guilt in it too, isn't
Right.
there?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
100%.
that's what I'm going right now is I feel guilty and I shouldn't.
Well, let's watch the word shouldn't because all emotions are valid. And as we
Yeah.
learn more of this empath journey, we'll work with that as well. Um, this is a precursor to a 3-day masterclass called a Radiant Empath. Just give you guys like full disclosure, people like announce at the end, this is the program. At the end, I'm going to tell you about a 3-day program. Part of the 3-day program is that we start validating our own emotions and being okay with them. Because the thing about emotions is you cannot control them. Our mindset we can manage, but the emotions follow the mindset. So you just kind of have to let them run its course, in my humble opinion. But I can give you a lot of super amazing tools to help managing them. And we'll deal with a couple of things in this course, but if there's something you want more deeper personally, or even take the masterclass, we can do that. Right now, the universal energy is super intense. There's rapid shifts. Many people are sensitive to like the solar eclipses. We just had the full moon. Sorry, full moons, big deal for empaths. Now we're coming into the Lion's Gate. We have a whole bunch of planets in retrograde. We've got this, we've got that, right? We've also got the regular humans all freaking out. So if you're empathic, you're getting like these downloads and streams of all these different things happening. And it could be really super overwhelming right now. It's not that this has never been like this before, but as we raise our awareness, we're going to be a little bit more heightened to it. You might have the need to be more energetic clearing. I noticed a lot of my empaths were doing spring cleaning right now in the middle of summer. Who does spring cleaning in the middle of summer? Well, empaths do. Because there's so much shit coming at us as we guys get rid of our stuff, right? And it's not that, like I said, it's not that I'm not affected by this, but what I've done is I've learned to make it a superpower. I went, oh, I need to really purge everything. What's going on? What kind of energies are coming through? Why am I feeling this? Right. So it's becoming aware of it. You also have more increased intuition right now, which is amazing. But if you haven't learned to listen to your intuition and you're still sitting in those doubts, it's going to be a little harder even because you're going to be arguing with yourself. Right. It's going to be like logically you should do this, but your intuition keeps telling you to do that. So we've got a lot of like back and forth stuff. And constant need for boundaries. And constantly people are stepping on these frickin' boundaries. Like, can we have more buttons pushed? Now, it may seem like we're being picked on, but really what's happening is it is empathic's time. It's time for us to grow, expand, understand, and to really kind of step into the light. Because as challenging as it may be right now at the point that you're at, it's actually an amazing gift. And as I teach you a little bit more about it, I hope you understand how powerful and amazing this can really be. So this is coming, and anybody that's been drawn to these classes is becoming, because it is time for you to shine your light. It is time for you to realize what an amazing superpower this is. Overall, we are being called to adapt, protect, embrace our gifts in this new and powerful way as the universal energy continues to shift. Being aware of the shifts in itself is a superpower. So many people are going through going, I don't know what's going on. I just feel like crap. Oh, well, we know what's going on because we're feeling it everywhere, right? Yeah. So being an empath is actually a highly spiritual gift. But it's also kind of interesting. So this is where the newfound wisdom has come in as I've been working through it. It is actually an archetype. Does anybody know what an archetype is? So an archetype was discovered in psychology by a gentleman named Carl Jung. Carolyn Myss also does it. She's a psychic. And basically it is different parts of the whole. So archetypes would be the victim, the martyr, the healer, the magician, the inner witch. We have the inner child. There's actually over 100 of them. And what I discovered as I was channeling in is empath is actually an archetype. Narcissist is also an archetype. Mm-hmm. But what's happening, just as some people have ego that takes over, our empath is taking over. So a little bit of this amazing knowledge helps us understand is that, yes, we're empathic, but it doesn't have to be all of our story all the time. We can say, should the empath be available today? Or can we maybe tuck it to the side and be a little bit of that more fun child and be curious, right? Now, the interesting thing about an empath is it's an advancement of the archetype of victim, and it's an advancement of the archetype of inner child. So if you have a wounded inner child, or you had a lot of situations where you were victimized in your life, the empath has come out now as a survival technique, if that makes sense. Because when you can be hypersensitive to what's going on around you, then you can also learn to move, protect yourself, people please, give the right answers, do all those many things that we've started to do. Often empaths come from a family that has a narcissist in it because they're on opposite ends of the scale. And just like white loves dark, or white and black, light and dark, we have empaths and narcissists coming together. Is this making sense for everybody? Awesome. So understanding is key. I believe knowledge is power. That's my biggest thing. And again, we're understanding things in a bigger way. So as we actually have these conversations, instead of people just saying, "Oh, she's just a people pleaser. Oh, she's just too sensitive. Oh, she's just emotional." We're understanding why we became these things. Now, also, we want to make sure that we don't shut it down. So, a solid tool for empaths currently are they could be lay in bed or hermit or don't talk to anybody, or just literally shut down, right? And what happens is we get some mental unwellness with this. We get depression. We start picking on ourselves. The inner critic comes out, right? We all like we have these emotions that are coming up that we're thinking are wrong. So we've all got all these coping skills. That it's because nobody really taught us how to manage it. So of course that's what we're doing. But the challenge with that then is we eventually have to come out of the cave. And when we come out of the cave, it's again so intense because we haven't learned any balancing, we haven't learned any tools. So then we retreat again. And so some people, I mean, they can spend years in depression because of it. Because every time you come out of the cave, it's just so overwhelming and just too much. Right. So my goal today in this class is to give you guys some solid tools so that we can start balancing that out, some knowledge, some support. And like I said, I have masterclass, but I also work one-on-one with people a lot. One of the biggest things I do is I help people set strong boundaries. Now, hands up, does anybody actually know how to set a boundary? It's a nice idea, and it might be in a Disney novel somewhere, but I think when it comes to actually setting a boundary, it feels a little funny, or it feels a little selfish, or it feels a little, like somebody's gonna get mad, or we're gonna get kicked out, or there's gonna be some kind of recourse. And we're absolutely 100% right usually. Because we train people how to treat us. And when you've been working in this way for so long, then all of a sudden you start saying no to people. They're like, well, what's wrong with her? How come she's got no time for me? Right? Why is she always selfish? Why is she always this? And I'm sure he is too, but I just working in females, right? So initially when we start setting those boundaries and we start saying no, we're going to get a little bit of a pushback. So this is again where it takes a little bit of support, right? So maybe having somebody that's super close to you that you can say, I'm going to start stretching my boundaries a little bit. I'll need some support. Or if you don't have anybody like that, please reach out. And also just giving yourself a little bit of extra love and compassion as it happens. That is going to be the first thing. Setting those boundaries, but then, sorry, the second thing is giving yourself love and compassion. Because this is, again, it's a superpower when we start to learn to yield it. And most empaths have been really hard on themselves their whole life. It's never enough. So embrace your sensitivity. When you identify your boundaries necessary for your well-being. And understand you're not the only one doing it. It's a whole trend. There's a whole bunch of us empaths saying, hey, wait, hold on. I don't want to, I want to. And it's okay if you are still being a little bit of a people pleaser. I would like you just to also take a look at what your needs are. Also start to recognize, right? Don't necessarily go right to the yes. Even if you do say yes, just give yourself a pause for a second and ask, do I really want to do that? Or am I just feeling like I have to do that? Now you could still say yes, because Rome wasn't built in a day. But it's the pause, the awareness, and even considering your own feelings before you respond to somebody that is a really solid step. Even if you don't change the way you respond to them, even if you just start changing the way that you're reacting to yourself. Energy cleansing rituals. These are really amazing. Empaths work in the energetic realm. Everything is non-touchable usually. right? It's emotional, it's imagination, it's words, it's all the ether things. So when we are finding ways that we are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, attached to people, maybe we feel like everybody's in our space, we want to do things that we can actually clear our energy. Little things like smudging are great. Incense, I'm a big person on incense right now. I don't know why. Frankincense is my favorite. Salt baths. Those are a great way to clear your energy. Crystals, awesome way to clear your energy. Right? Yeah, Jill loves her crystals. Uh, Sound. So you could play like beautiful music. Open the windows, right? Get the sound going through everything. And even dry bathing, where you're like literally pulling everybody's crap off you, right? If you've been at a beautiful family function, maybe you've taken your in-laws for dinner. I love my mother-in-law, love her, took her for birthday dinner. Absolutely dropped her off at the house before I got in the car. Just gave myself a little bit of, we're just going to leave everything on the driveway. uh, and yeah, we're going to get into a couple more techniques too. So the next one is grounding. Now, being grounded is usually really, really, really tricky for an empath because part of being grounded is knowing where your center is. If you are always stepping into other people's energies, if you don't know where you end and others begin, grounding might be a little bit of a trickier technique for you right now, and that's okay. Again, we're going to come with some self-compassion. We're going to come with, hey, we're learning a whole new language, right? Mother Earth is very helpful at doing this. Literally go stick your feet in the grass and say, come on, I need some help. And trying it after you do that energetic clearing is a really great idea. So if we're kind of stacking these tools on one another, so, we're saying no, we've got the boundaries, we're clearing, we're doing a salt bath. And then after that, we're trying to find that grounding. What's going to happen is going to create a new kind of way of being for yourself. So every time you do it, it's going to get easier and easier. And you'll notice once you've been grounded once, you'll know when you're not grounded. Because that's when we want to really maybe intentionally, even when we're around other people, just pause, take a breath, picture ourselves coming back into our center, and try not to just topple things on each other. So if you can actually take time and space in between this, it'd be ideal. Did you have a question, Lori? No, okay. So far, so good. Making sense, guys? I'm going to throw a lot of information at you. It is recorded if you need it. Just let me know. Then we want to be aware of our self-care. Woo! Anybody do self-care here? Self-care is not getting your nails done. Oh my God. It's not getting your hair done either, even though it looks gorgeous, Jill. This is where we have to take a little bit of a minute and think, when I care for somebody, how do I treat them? When I care for somebody, what do I do? And then you need to put yourself in that position, right? When I care for somebody, I listen to their opinions. Okay, I need to listen to my own opinions today, right? When I care for somebody, I'm respectful of their time. I might need to be respectful of my own time, right? When I care for somebody, I make sure that they've eaten. Oh, maybe we want to make sure that we've eaten in a day, right? If they're tired, they sit. If they're thirsty, I grab them a drink, right? It's tricky. And the self-care thing has kind of got a little bit lost because everybody's like, oh, go have a massage, go do this, go do that. But the doings is not necessarily the self-care. It's literally nurturing yourself. And if it's difficult to see at first, that's okay. That's a total thing. Again, we're learning a totally new language. If you replace an animal or a child, would you be treating them? Or your bestest, most treasured friends, and then try to shift that energy onto yourself. That's going to be the easiest way to get there. Let's talk about emotions. So empaths are so good at picking up emotions. They have no filter system. They don't know what to do with them. They don't know where to go. They just keep shoving them in. They pick them up from here. They pick them up from there. I think you're amazing. You guys have perfected this. However, emotions make us physically unwell. And again, this is why empaths are being called to figure it out this year, because we have a lot of physical unwellness. People are getting sick. Their body cannot deal with this amount of emotions that they're picking up. So having some kind of release system is going to be vital. If you don't know how to do that, I can definitely help you. But some things that we can do are cry. How many like to have a good cry? So you all have my permission to have a good cry. Stop stopping yourself. Don't let like one tear run down and then suck it up and keep going. No, you need to have a cry. You have a cry. But then you totally reward yourself, pat yourself on the back and say, damn, that was a good cry. Refill your liquids, have some water, wash your face, and get on. Right? Let yourself actually cry. We have been trained to keep stifling these emotions, and these emotions are trying to come up. It's okay to have a good cry. Breath work is a wonderful way to do it. Literally blowing it out. Now, if you want to do it with a cigarette, great, fine, I don't care. If you want to do it with a joint, great, I don't care. Or you could just breathe. It feels really good. That's the whole reason why we started smoking to begin with, right? I don't know if you're still smoking, but I know that's why I used to smoke, because right? And we got it out. So attractive. But I guarantee if you do that at home, there you go. I like it with the pen. You're going to feel yourself lightening up. You're going to feel those emotions coming out. And I was actually, my kid and I were talking about this, the difference between smoking pot and eating edibles or drinking, right? We drink, we keep swallowing these emotions. We keep letting it in. It's a cesspool. Empaths, a lot of empaths drink because you're trying to numb yourself. But if you blow it out, you're going to have a way better chance at getting it out, because we're literally blowing it out. So, I mean, if you want to drink, that's great, but also breathe. I'm not here to tell anybody to not drink. And be aware of why you're drinking. And if it is because you're swallowing those emotions, try to do something to get rid of them before that. I have a couple really, really amazing techniques. Some of my clients are on here, and hopefully you'll speak for how amazing those techniques are that I help you release. Yay! Let's talk about managing triggers. I've been triggered so much in the last 3 months. Like, I'm talking old school triggering, like things that I had thought that I had dealt with in a long time ago. But these are neon signs that things need to be healed. The best thing we can do is stop ignoring them. Pay attention to it. Why is it triggering me? I know she's a bitch, but her being a bitch has really nothing to do with me being triggered or not. It's the validation that I'm giving of whatever's going on. So I'm probably picking up a whole bunch of her anxiety, a whole bunch of her guilt, a whole bunch of her this that is now toppling on me. So usually when people are triggered, it's some kind of protective mechanism, and it's helping us fight, flight, or flee, right? So there's some kind of emotional swampland that's happening when a trigger comes up. It's not the universe is picking on you. It may feel like the universe is picking on you, but it's actually happening in your highest good to make space. So as the vibration of the world is being raised, we're being called to make some space. We need to get rid of these dark, gross emotions that are not only ours, but others, right? We need to clear the space so that we can start feeling better about our life. We're entering a massive manifesting time. August is a fantastic time to start saying, I want this, and this, and I want the cherry on top. If you're feeling like crud about yourself, it's hard to even find that. So we want to get rid of it. Like-minded soul. Let's find other people that are givers. It is nice when you can get together with another giver. I mean, it's also awkward because everybody's trying to overgive. But as an empath, it's a really nice break, right? Usually empaths collect people that are in need of our services. And that's because we find value in it, of being useful, right? I love to be needed. But it's nice every now and then to get to with somebody that doesn't actually need anything from me and that I can just give myself to be a minute to be me. Number 8 is learn to shield your energy. So visualizing literally a protective bubble of light around you is a great way to start. There's so many other ways you can do it. You can do a rainbow. You can picture yourself in the sun. You can just picture yourself radiating things out too. So things are not coming in. Because if you radiate out, it's harder for things to come in. You can also picture things going through. So it doesn't necessarily have to land on you. Maybe it just goes right through to the back. There's little ghost guys in the Matrix. Everything just goes right through them, right? Just because somebody hands something to you does not mean you have to pick it up. So just because somebody in front of you is feeling like crap, it does not mean you have to pick it up. Having this awareness is a really, really awesome point, and reminding ourselves throughout the day when we interact with people is really good too. Ideally, what we want to do is learn to hold space and be present, because really everybody just wants to be heard. We don't need to take it, and we're not helping them when we do. If me taking it from you actually helped you learn your lesson, I would do it. But I learned a long time ago that all that means is you have to go back and learn it in different ways. You have to learn it in harder ways. Or you get it now and I get it, and we've actually just multiplied the bullshit. So nobody is winning. So a lot of this is just being aware that we do not need to take anybody's pain. We do not need to take on their journey. We do not to take their burden. We are not responsible for their happiness. We are not responsible to fix things, even if it's your own children. Ha ha. We are responsible to create a loving, supportive home where they can grow and thrive and learn how to do it themselves. Now, can we help them? Absolutely. But doing it for anybody, it doesn't going to solve it. You can't go take their math test and have them learn math. You'll have to type it out, Lori. I can't hear. Okay. So shield your energy. Now there are some amazing meditations you can do online. So if you're not quite sure where to start, you can literally Google guided meditation to help shield my energy. They're free. They're on Spotify. They're on YouTube. They're on Amazon Music. There is so many free resources for you. Also, I can help. I love to do that. If you embrace it as a regular maintenance, just like brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, if you embrace shielding your energy as a regular maintenance, you will notice a dynamic difference in your life. Whether you're leaving the house or not. If you get up in the morning and you shield your energy, and I'm not talking out of fear, I want you to just like you would put out a coat on if it was raining. Because you have so many interactions with energetic presence throughout the day. Even if you don't leave your house, you're still connecting to Facebook, you're still listening to the news, you've still got the collective consciousness coming through, right? We've got the kids, we've got people that are thinking about us, because that's the great thing about being empaths. We pick up on all this psychic stuff. Focus on your inner strength. You're so much stronger than you think you are. If you look at all the things that you've overcome in your life and made a list, oh my God, you would go, holy crap, I've been through lots of things. Because as an empath, you have done an amazing job surviving these things. We just forget to sit and give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back. And last but not least, embracing your purpose. Recognizing that your role as an empath is actually part of the current universal shift. So if you're like, I don't know what my purpose is, just start with the fact you're an empath. That's huge. Right off the bat, you can say that I came here for a reason. You may not know how to yield it yet, but that's okay. But honoring that just having this gift, you have a great value to share. Now, you can choose to share it or not. There's no pressure. But if you're not sure what your purpose is, it's definitely to do with being an empath. Because as much as it's an archetype, not everybody can access this archetype. Right? People that are hero archetypes, not everybody wants to be a hero. It doesn't, when my hero archetype comes up, I shove them in a corner. It's not something that I do. Yes. So there's some tips and tools to actually help you guys. I am going to share different types of empaths. I'm not going to go through everything because we are running out of a bit of time. But I think that'll help you understand yourself a little bit different. So an emotional empath is one that is sensitive to heightened emotions of others. This is the strongest empath trait. So you might feel, you may not even know what you're feeling, to be honest. But like somebody will walk in a room and you're like, how you doing? They're like, I'm good. And you're like, no, they feel anxious. They feel scared. They feel all these things, but you don't even realize it. And as an empath, usually what happens is then all of a sudden you get super anxious and you think that you have crowd challenges, but it's not necessarily yours. It's everybody else's in the room. A telepathic empath cranks it up a bit and here's their thoughts, which is creepy. I don't want to hear anybody's thoughts. That's not my empath. I put a hard no on it. But I'm an energetic empath and I can read their energy. So when people are, I can see all the different phases of their energy. It's a really, really amazing superpower being the healer that I am. But in just normal everyday going to house parties and stuff, it's not awesome. I definitely put my shields up. Physical empath will actually get sensitivity to other people's like aches and pains. If you're doing this, please become a healer. Let me help you show you how you can. Like people will be talking about how their elbow hurts, and then all of a sudden your elbow starts to hurt with them. Or if you're watching a movie and they do a stunt and you're like, oh, that actually feels like that one hurt. You're empathetic to actual physical pain. It is an amazing gift as a healer. You can be a medical intuitive with it. Psychometry empath is they can feel the connections to objects and places. Again, a super cool thing, like if you're going to Egypt or if you're going to the Mayan ruins, but not if you're going to the, I don't want to say cemetery, maybe cemetery. For me, it's fisheries, libraries. They all feel kind of gross. I've got a sensitivity to areas. Molecular empath is somebody that feels on the deepest levels. So you're going to be aware of people that are dehydrated or feel exhausted or are having some kind of molecular effect. Maybe they're battling cancer, or maybe you don't even know what they're battling. You just get a vibe that on a molecular level, they're off. And again, it's a wonderful thing as a healer. Now, just because you're an empath doesn't mean you have to be a healer. You can just use it in business. I had a gentleman who was a financial advisor we met with. He's empathic, and he does it to help people do their portfolios. It's a superpower in some way. For him, it makes him a lot of money. Katie, did you have a question?
Yeah, I was wondering if you could be many different ones together.
Absolutely. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. 100%.
Okay, because I
definitely
noticed myself a little bit in a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially if you are a couple different things, of course, it's going to be even harder for you because now you're getting all these things at once. So that's going to be a big challenge. Very, very important. Excellent question. Thank you. We have animal empaths. Yes, those are amazing. People that can sense the energy and the feelings and of animals. I am not one of them, but I do have a couple clients that are incredibly good at it. And that one's a nice one because animals are so giving. It's a really nice, easy gift to have. The same one with the next one, we have a plant or flora empath. And again, people that are like super connected to plants, trees. These are easy ones too because nature gives. She gives us so much. So these are really great superpowers. And this is where it's really important to be an empath to learn a little bit more about your gifts and not just shut them down. Because you could be missing out on like a whole bunch of really cool things. Right? Yeah, it's overwhelming when you're around people that maybe are being a little bit more stuck up. But then when we go into nature and then all of a sudden we can feel the birds, that feels amazing. When we do the Radiant Empath, I'm going to teach you how to turn down your gifts and turn up your gifts. I'm going to teach you how to expel things that you don't want and filter in the things that you do want. We have an earth empath again, so that's a little bit different than a plant one, and they're actually connected to the earth itself. They're connected to the crystals. They're connected to the dirt. They're connected to mountains. My husband is super connected to mountains. Indigo empath is a little bit different than indigo children. They're sensitive to issues of morality and virtues. When somebody's acting in bad faith, indigo empaths are likely to spot it. So they're really good at catching political nonsense. Unfortunately, though, as an empath, again, if you don't know how to control it, the news and stuff will really make you a little bit crazy, right? All of these like slimy things, you're going to be super sensitive to. You're also usually extra sensitive to the world events. So you're not just watching them on the news like other people are. They're really affecting you in your home. So again, we want to learn to hold space for that and witness it instead of letting it suck in us. We have precognitive empaths. Sorry, did I miss a question? No. Precognitive empaths, they're sensitive to situation potential. So this is gorgeous. And this is actually one of my gifts as well. So I can see the possibilities of the energy. So I'm sensitive to if you make this choice or if you make that choice. It's kind of a fun gift. See, it's not all bad, guys. Medium empaths, definitely we have the extrasensory vibes from the spirit world. Again, one that I'm definitely connected to. If you're not aware of it though, you could just feel off, right? Or because the veil is so thin right now and we have visitors, we have a lot of things coming through. We have guides coming through, but we also have unwanted energies coming through. And so if you're a medium empath and you don't have the proper training for it, that can be really super overwhelming. And again, you shut down your gifts. And I don't want anybody to shut them down. We can learn to tune them down. We can learn to have boundaries. We can learn to have office hours. We can learn to kind of work with these superpowers. Dream empaths. These are particular skilled at remembering and interpreting dreams. Again, I know Miss Jill is excellent at that. Not one of my gifts, but a super cool gift if you have it. And they can usually astral travel. There is a sacred empath called the Hiyoka, and it means spiritual clown or sacred clown. And it's a Native American one. It is one of the most powerful variety as an empath. Shamans are often these. Medicine women. They are excellent at protection. And it's usually an advanced healer that develops the skills. So you start with an empath of the simpleton, and then you advance yourself. But it's usually like a natural one. Mainly, empaths are widely seen as healers, diplomats, and peacemakers. So even though it feels like it's a little bit hard right now, with a little bit of knowledge, power, direction, tools, skills, we can definitely start using it into the positive. Okay, any questions on that? Okay, that is basically my class, guys. Radiant Healer is going to get into so much more. And again, we're going to use some hypnosis because, and the reason I chose to hypnosis is not meditation, is because a lot of these super skills were formed in our development years, and going in with a little bit of hypnosis to help those development years and heal. And again, switch them into the superpower, not the survival technique, I feel will be very powerful. And I've done it personally with a lot of clients. So I'm going to start doing that in a group setting. But if I have no other questions, I'm going to shut off the recording here. If anybody watching the recording is interested in Radiant Empath, please let me know. I will connect with you and we'll give you the details on it. I hope you guys enjoyed this class. Have a great day.